Hello, Laura.
Hello, how are you?
How is everybody doing today?
Surviving this weird weather. How about yourself?
Oh
Hey,
my
everybody in
God.
chat.
Okay, my voice just came back now. For a minute now, I don't know what was going on, but anyways, yeah. So it's been about, I would say, 60 to 70, and then now it's back down to like the 40s or 50s. So it's crazy,
Yeah. Yeah, it
crazy.
was 80 degrees here the other day, and now it's, I think, 40s, low
Yep.
40s, and calling for snow. I'm thinking,
Oh
what?
my God.
Please, we
Ay,
all
ay,
need to just get
ay.
rid of all of it.
It's supposed to be spring. Come on now. Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah, that's normal for here
Seriously.
where I am.
I
You get
know.
a sweater on 1 minute and bathing suit on the next. It's you never know what you're gonna run into.
I tell you. I tell you. So what's been new? Anything?
Oh, just, me trying to my body adjusting to the weird weather and
Yep.
working on a magazine. I only have a few days left to get April's issue out, and so hoping everybody can send stuff in, come on to fill the pages. Actually, it's great this time. I believe it's almost 120 pages now.
Nice.
So it
Nice.
keeps going up, but
Yeah.
it's nice when people start sending their stuff in, share their stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, just trying to get that finished, by the end of the week. Um, and just life. How about yourself? What's been going
Yeah.
on in your
Yeah. I
world?
mean, I've been a little quiet lately. I don't know, Laura. I've been thinking, when I started my group, it was like the old way. I had an EMF reader, a video recorder, and camera, camcorder. But I was using myself more as a tool and not relying so much on the equipment. And I think throughout the years, I definitely are now relying more on the equipment and not trusting myself and using me as a tool. So
Right.
I think moving forward, I think I'm going to go back to the old style. I'm not saying that equipment is not useful by all needs. If you're comfortable with it, you are. But I think I need to actually just use myself and see, just to see, what my experiences are and kind of like, my abilities, what I have. And, so I'm definitely, once it starts getting nicer out, I'm going to just go to abandoned places, woods, cemeteries. Plus, I'm taking those classes now, animal communication and nature. So I definitely want to bring that in as well. I want to in the future take Reiki classes since your podcast. I'm really into that
Yeah,
now.
I'm excited about having that show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm definitely excited. And I do want to take some more animal spirit communication and regular communication. So I kind of want to just enroll all that stuff and just, go out to these places. Just take a backpack with snacks, water, and just the basic equipment and see how it goes. Of course, if I go to
Right.
like larger locations with like larger teams and stuff, yeah, I'll bring in more equipment. But I think I'm just gonna, I just want to give myself a chance, you know?
Yeah, I
So
agree with
that's
you.
my
Yeah.
plan.
I was gonna do some filming the other day because I did manage to get out and enjoy some of the sunshine, but that didn't happen. So, because all the places that I usually go, we were checking everything out. Everything is like underwater because we had so much snow here. It's
Yep.
everything is just saturated. So there's no way I could walk around anywhere without, ended up to my neck in mud. So I got to put that
Yeah.
off for a couple of weeks, but hopefully, yeah, get behind the camera and get some, I don't know, see if I can get any data and some new EVPs and check out some new cemeteries that I want to go to.
Yep.
It's,
Absolutely.
it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. I'm gonna drag Bill along with me.
Ah, that would be awesome.
I'll make him do
That
all the driving.
Yeah, yeah, that would be awesome, and I definitely wanna go, make a trip to see both of you. That would be
Oh,
exciting.
that'd be great. Yeah, we've got
Yeah,
some great places around here.
you do?
Um,
I wanna
well,
check out that
yeah.
Victorian village you was telling me about.
Oh, Camden. Oh, yes,
Yeah,
just beautiful, beautiful. I'd give anything to have one of those homes.
yeah,
That's, it's yeah, it's just and I know the government gives you a fund to restore the homes,
mhm,
and you have to go by their code. Um, but the thing is then to maintain the home.
Yeah.
And, I can think about heating something like that and cooling it. It just must be just outrageous. So I get to
Yeah.
through and enjoy them from the outside.
Yeah, definitely. Well, before we see who's with us, I just want to give a couple of shout outs. Vampire Vendettas, if you guys don't know too much about it, it's kind of like a family suspense feature film. I have a small role in it as well. Hopefully it will stop filming next year, but I do have all the details for the website, as well as if anybody would like to donate for a tax deductible, you're able to. So that's a great movie, and that's in the works. Hopefully we're going to film next fall, I believe.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's very exciting. And I'm actually going to be on Michael's podcast on, I believe, Tuesday, live from YouTube. So tune into that. But besides that, let's see who is with us. There's Michael, Raven. Hi, Raven. There's Jamie, Judith. Hi, Judith. Let's see, Wandering Renchi. Oh,
Wenchy,
welcome. Sarah, welcome. Two Ply, welcome.
He's in there shaking the booty.
Yes. Continue shaking that booty. And the lovely Carla. Carla, welcome. Thank you for joining. There's Ryan. Welcome, Ryan.
We got to get Carla on here someday with us.
No, she's actually on next one.
Is she our next one? Okay.
She's August 5th. August. Yeah. Hello. April 5th, she's on with us.
All right. So see,
yes.
I should have seen that. Yeah. Hey, William, how's it going?
See, I have to get more familiar with people's names in back of their title. So I'm getting better, I promise. Willow, welcome. Judith. The other side, welcome. William, double K, welcome. And I think, is that everybody? I think that's everybody.
I'm looking. Did we say Willow? You did say William. Hey, yes. Sam.
Yep.
Jamie Watson's here hanging out with us. Ryan is here. Hello. Let me see. We don't want to miss anybody. If we did, Sarah Bowman. Hi, sweetie. Susan's here too. What are you doing here, Susan?
What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm joking. I called you out.
What? God.
Oh man. Is it too early? It's too early to joke around.
I haven't taken too much from my drink yet. So
okay.
It's not early.
Oh, what are you drinking? Okay, let's see. What are you drinking?
So it has cranberry juice. No, not cranberry. Sorry, grapefruit juice, blackberry liquor, and vanilla vodka. Nice. So it's in the description as well. It's just equal parts of it. So yeah. So because I'm starting to get into like the fruity, summer, springy type of thing. So and of course everything has to be red. So anyways, but so before I'm like tongue twisted here. Without further ado,
nipping the bottle too much.
I know, I tell you. We are going to bring on Emerald Isle Paranormal Researchers. So there's Jenny.
Good afternoon.
And we have Bethany and Jacqueline. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Welcome, ladies.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Oh, we are good. How are you?
Good. Sitting down finally on a Saturday evening. Finally sitting. It's good to be sitting. The fire is lit.
Yep. Sorry about that. Okay.
The fire is lit and it's all. I'm here with the ladies.
Yes.
Ready to have a fantastic show.
There we go. Now we can see everybody.
I have to say, I love the accent. It is fantastic.
I know it is.
Yeah, Irish accent. And we don't say top of the morning to you. We never say that.
Okay, thank you for straightening that out.
Only after a cup of coffee, then we say top of the morning to you. But before we have our coffee, it's kind of like we grunt.
Right. We do that here too. It's like, get out of here.
Yeah, and then
it's more of a how are you?
Yeah, right.
How are you?
How are you? How's it going? How's she cutting?
I usually just hold up a hand and say it's too early. Get away from me. Just
Yeah. Oh, I have Chihuahua on
early.
my bed. I have my Chihuahua on my bed. She does it for me.
Oh.
Oh,
She does it all for me. So there you go.
Yeah. So, so I know it's we're
just to
going to
let Beth
discuss
know, Raven
anything.
loves her hair.
I know. But I can't really,
Don't look at my roots.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
Let me see. Raven has a comment. I believe that's their
Emerald Isle
YouTube channel.
Yeah, Emerald Isle, that's the YouTube Emerald Isle Paranormal Researchers YouTube, and it's the same with the Facebook page. The Facebook page is private, so if you request it, I'll let you in. If your name's not down, you're not in. I'll let you in. Yeah.
So why don't we go around the room and each of you could just tell a little bit something about yourself and how you actually got it started in the paranormal.
Okay, who do you want to go first?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo,
You.
whoever. Why
Okay.
don't
Go on,
you,
Jenny.
Jenny?
Okay. Okay, well, I'm Jenny Sullivan. I am the founder of Emerald Isle Paranormal Researchers, and the team started up in late 2016, early 2017. And what got me into the paranormal was there's 11 in my family, and there always has to be that one child that is different, and that was definitely me. And I could just see things and hear things. And I know that's kind of like, oh, we all heard this, but it's true. Seeing things, heard things, and I knew I was a little different from the rest of the family. I knew I was, but I was quiet. Can you believe that? I was quiet. I was quiet, and I kept myself to myself. And it was me and my animals, and that was it. That was it. And then paranormal, it frightened the life out of me. It frightened me so much. And then when I got a little older, I got into it. I got into the paranormal. And then between my work, what I do, I work with animals. I work in rescue. I'm a dog groomer, and I'm studying animal psychology as well. So I kind of not mix both of them together, but that's my full time, and everything that I do is paranormal and animal work. And that's me.
Beautiful.
Jacqueline?
Do you want me to go next? Okay. We joined Jenny's team because she's the founder, and it's been great so far. We have done a few things, and we actually live quite far apart, so we meet up to investigate, or Jenny comes to here, or we will go. So what got me into the paranormal? I don't know. Growing up at home, my family would openly talk about haunted houses, all that kind of stuff. My grandmother was a herbalist, so I suppose it comes from that. And my own interest comes from just a couple of incidences. I used to have night terrors when I was very young, up to age 7. And when I hit 7, they stopped. And I mean screaming night terrors. And I used to see something at the end of my bed, and my dad would come in, and then he'd take me out to their bed, my mum and dad's bed, because there was no going back to sleep for me. But it just automatically stopped when I was 7. No explanation. I used to have the same dream every single night. I used to have the same dream over and over and over and over and over again. And after that, a couple of things happened. A couple of things turned up. Odd things like would just appear. Don't know if they're coincidence or not. One of them, when I was a little bit older, probably 16, I said this on another show, a Scottish 5 sterlings, £5 note just turned up under my pillow one morning. I woke up and it was there. So I don't know. I can't explain that. And I can't explain a couple of odd I'm not convinced they're coincidences, and I'm not convinced they're not. So that just leads you to be curious to see if there is something else there. Is there another explanation? And that's basically why I'm interested.
Okay.
That's it. Do you want to go, Boo?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name's Bethany. I'm actually Jackie's daughter. So I didn't have a choice growing up, being interested in this kind of stuff. But I absolutely adore it. I've adored everything got to do with paranormal or horror since I was a child. And I guess when you're Irish, you don't really have a choice but to have an
You don't
interest,
question it.
because
Right.
it's so intertwined in our culture and our superstitions, and like it's just really normal here to just have passing stories of things you can't explain. And so you don't really have a choice living here or growing up here. But yeah, we've been on a few ghost hunts and have now joined Jenny and having a great time with her. But yeah, just always have an interest as a kid and as I was growing up, and now I'm a huge horror fan. I read mostly only horror. I just consume the stuff all day long. But I'm actually a software engineer full time, so it's kind of an oxymoron
Wow.
to be so logical in my day life and then be so into this stuff as well. So
Yeah. So we have a great team. We have a great team, and with like I would call Jacqueline the historian. Like she there's nothing she wouldn't know about a location. Bethany, I call them every name, is our IT girl. Like she will know if I need something or I don't know something, we go to Bethany, and I just turn up.
you're the founder.
And that's nice. That's nice. They always it's a long running joke with us. It's a long running joke, honest to God. And I go, that's nice. But we have a great team. We have great fun, and I love that. We work really, really hard, and we play hard as well. We love going to our amazing locations here in Ireland, and like I said, Jacqueline's like the historian. There's not a place that she doesn't know. She puts me to shame. She does. I go off by what I have known in my last time of the location that I've been there. Plus, I know a little bit of the history of the locations. I know next Friday night, we are going to be at the infamous Leap Castle in County Offaly. This location is the most infamous castle, as they say, in Europe. And let me tell you, from investigating that beautiful castle for the last 6 or 7 years, it is everything. And the more you go back, the more you find, the more you hear, the more you see. It is everything what people think it is. Yeah, it definitely is. So we are back on next Friday on the 28th of March. So I am a little bit nervous from after the last time I was there, but really looking forward to it. And Jacqueline, do you know what, Jacqueline? I might even give you a little bit of you give a wee bit of the history if you want to of that castle.
Okay, so the Leap Castle, very interesting. It was built in refurbished many times. The current tower house is there, I think, since the 1500s. Built by the O'Bannons, taken over by the O'Carrolls. Constant struggle for power there, constant murders, constant struggles to be the chieftain. It was the O'Bannons, one of the brothers kind of duped the other brother into jumping off the battlements and took over as the chieftain. Then the O'Carrolls came along, took it off the O'Bannons because they liked the site. And then it fell into the hands of the Darbys after the O'Carrolls. But there's loads of historical stuff there about the O'Carrolls employing mercenaries and inviting them to have a feast when they came to pay them. Hence the reputation of the Bloody Chapel. And instead of paying them, they actually murdered them all and threw them down the oubliette. And when the Darbys took over and renovated in the 1800s, 3 cartloads of bones were removed, apparently, from the oubliette. And then Mildred Darby's time, she married a guy called Jonathan. He was the Darby. She was Dill, I think was her name. But she was quite a strong character. And it's said that she rode and shot as well as any man. But they had 5 children, but the first child died aged 4 weeks. And I think it was a very troubled marriage. The husband spent a lot of time away, but when he was home, he was prone to terrible outbursts of rage. The children were petrified of him. And so I have no idea what was going on there. But it sounds like it was a miserable marriage. But she, in her own right, was an author and wrote under the pen name of Andrew Murray, and had quite a lot of books published on, not just on the paranormal, but one of her books details her kind of experience in the castle, of all the things she experienced there. And interestingly enough, she would have held seances and automatic writing sessions, tarot readings, Ouija boards, all that kind of thing. She has her story published in the kind of publication du jour, which was called the Occult Review. And lots of people published in it: W.B. Yeats, Oscar Wilde, the infamous Aleister Crowley. So these would have all been contemporaries of her, and you can look these up. The Occult Review, her story was published in December of 1908 issue. It was a monthly magazine, so they would have all taken this. And in it is lists of what they would do, like mirror scrying, all kinds of religion, all kind of mystical, kind of Indian mysticism, hermeticism, all secret cults and orders, you know.
Your door just opened, Jacqueline.
Sorry?
Your door just opened. I know it's a
That's
dog.
all right. That's one of the dogs.
Not a ghost.
Not a
Open that
ghost.
door.
Not a ghost.
Wow.
One of the dogs. Your dog.
You could have had him going for a while.
That's George.
Yeah. So it's going to be quite an interesting. I think it's going to be quite an interesting investigation. We have a lot of history on it, and not only every and also Lep is reputed to be built on an old druidic site that would have been used for rituals to initiate the young into the whatever the druids did. We have no idea. So it's quite an interesting place, and as Jenny says, reputed to be the most haunted castle in Ireland, if not Europe.
I'm looking forward to next Friday. I'm a little bit nervous. Listen, I'm doing this about 18 years, 19 years. If you get nervous before a location, before an investigation, that's good. Your wit and aware is about you. I get that. I've never been nervous going to Lep Castle before, never, until the last time I was there. Until the last time I was there, and something happened in the bloody chapel, which only happened to me 10 years, 11 years prior. A smell of sulfur that I said I never want to smell again in my life. I never want to smell. And I didn't smell it in Lep Castle. 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I smelled it in Shane's Castle up in the north of Ireland. Mm-hmm. And then last year, I smelled it in the bloody chapel in Lep Castle. And I said I would never, ever want to smell that again. And then I did that night. And that's when I thought, I said, it teaches, no matter how long you're investigating, no matter how long you're in this paranormal field, you learn every single time you go in a location, on investigations, you learn. And I don't know if it's, maybe I'm changing a little bit. Maybe I'm a little bit more susceptible to things. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's, you know, when your life changes and whatnot, and you're more susceptible to things. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. That you are a little bit more vulnerable, and that you're the target. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but we are going back next week, and we are going to find out. We are going to find out. I'm looking forward to come back to the people that I know in Lep Castle. Sean, the owner, love him, love Anne, love his pets. The children in Lep Castle, just amazing. I mean, there's so much, we could talk hours on Lep Castle. There's so much to it. Mm-hmm. There's so many locations we've been to in Ireland, so there's a lot that we, you know, could fill you in on, and we will. And we will. But we are going to be doing a live for an hour.
Okay.
Next week. There's an experiment we are going to be trying out that will be done privately, but everywhere else in the castle will be done live for about an hour and a half, if that, you know, because we have guests coming with us who's never done Lep Castle before, and we want to give them the attention and give them a chance to investigate properly as well. So we will do an hour of it. But it is a great place to see. It is a beautiful place to see. It's like going home. And if anyone had ever watched Spooked Ireland, and you should, it's on Discovery Plus and Travel Channel. I'm plugging myself in here now. Spooked Ireland with Chris Fleming, on Discovery Plus and Travel Channel. Episode 4, Lep Castle. You'll see me on it. Thank you very much.
Nice, nice.
You'll see me on it. I'll be on for 5 minutes, but 5 minutes better than none. But it was a great time filming with them as well, and to meet Chris Fleming as well. It was great. But
That is
there's more.
awesome. I'll definitely post it on my YouTube channel for everybody to check out. Definitely.
Yeah, that's great.
That's
Thank
definitely. Yeah, because Jen, you've been to Lep
I'm
Castle
most
several
interested
times.
to see what's going to happen this time.
Yeah.
Really? I've been to Lep Castle for about 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jen. Yeah, and but interestingly, this time is our first time the three of us will be together investigating.
Yeah.
Myself and Bethany have been there separately to Jenny, so I'm interested to see what kind of crossover we get, or if anything, on the night that between Jenny's experiences and ours, which were completely separate on different nights with different people. So I'll be interested to see if there's any crossover between what we have experienced there and what Jenny has experienced there, to see if there's differences or whether they're the same.
It's like my baby, and this. Oh my gosh, I'm so looking forward to it. I'm excited, as always. But there you go. I think that's our second investigation this year that we've had. I think the first one was in Cork, the Sisters of Mercy Convent down in Cork, in Mercy, and that was a beautiful place. It's in Cove in Cork and the west of Ireland, and it was our first time there, and it is a great place. It is a fantastic place. It's a convent, and so you put me in a room full of nuns and maybe a priest or two. It's not going to come out okay. Like I don't do convents. I really don't do convents. I don't do nuns and I don't do priests. So no,
especially not in Ireland.
No,
yeah, especially in Ireland.
It was Jenny,
and especially not the Order of the Sisters of Mercy, who have an horrendous history in Ireland.
I know Sisters of Mercy was a great band. They were a great band.
Yeah,
in Ireland, they were
not a great load of nuns.
They have not a great load of nuns, shall we say.
It was a great location to investigate, I have to say. I'm looking forward to going back again. We are looking forward to going back again. We did a first time. That was our first investigation of the year a few weeks ago, and we are so busy that we have to kind of cut one or two off a little bit because we are non-stop doing work this year. Non-stop, yeah. But it's good to be busy. Good to be busy.
Yes, definitely.
It is good to be busy. Yeah, definitely.
Which place have you investigated that you've gotten the best results from?
Let the ladies answer first.
Do you want to go first, Jenny? Well, I think maybe Bethany should explain her experience in Loftus Hall, the infamous Loftus Hall. I think maybe you should explain your experience there, Bethany.
That was probably one of our first ghost hunts that we went with another group. It was a couple of years ago before Loftus closed down. But we were all in a dark room in a circle, and we were told to put our hands out. So everyone put their hands out, but I put my hand out like this because I thought that's what we were all doing. Nobody told me otherwise, and it was dark. And I, at the time, would have been very kind of quiet and shy. And in a group like that where I didn't know anyone, I wouldn't have opened my mouth no matter what happened because I would have been so embarrassed. I'm completely different now. That was a few years ago. I was younger. But I had my hand out like this, and it felt like something just went like that. And as soon as it felt like it touched me, I yanked my hand away and I screamed. And it was very embarrassing. But it really felt, it was like I'd been electrocuted. It was so cold. It was like something had touched my hand. It absolutely terrified me.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know why everyone else apparently had their hands like this, but I didn't get the memo. So I won't be doing it again.
But she had the experience, though.
Oh, yes, you will.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you will.
You were meant to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It absolutely terrified me. And it was at a time years ago before I was into this, but not really as much as I thought I would be. And it was really I was really not the kind of person that would have made a scene out of anything. I scared the shit out of my mum. because I would never shout out loud like that in a group. So yeah, it was,
Oh,
it was
wow.
good fun. But that was all that happened there.
Interestingly, myself and Bethany were in Edinburgh recently and did a few
That's
of
my
the
dog.
tours.
That
Yeah.
noise of bells.
That noise was with Georgie,
dog.
yeah. But we took to a few tours, and one of the ladies was over the Witchcraft Museum there, and she does witch tours of Edinburgh with the, all the witches that were, or women.
The real history of
the real history of
tried
the
witchcraft.
witches in Edinburgh. And I was telling her that tale of us in Loftus Hall, because Loftus Hall is so famous, such a famous place. And she found it very, very interesting that Bethany put her hand in the form of a handshake rather than what everybody else was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And she just said, I'm going to do that in my group tour, she said, because she said, really, to be honest, she said, it makes much more sense to put your hand out to be shaken. Like it's a form of saying hello or a form of greeting that would be familiar to people from all eras and all groups, that a handshake would be far more familiar than just doing this, which would probably mean nothing to someone. So I found that quite interesting. She made that comment,
Yeah, that's the a normal thing would be put our hands out, like you said, like for a handshake, to put hands flat, up or down, flat, it's different.
And she was the only one that got a response there that night, so.
And that's what we're going to do in the next one, right, Beth?
So we're going to be shaking hands.
I don't know if I want to shake hands with anything that's in left.
I don't care what you'll be putting your hand out to be shaken.
I have plans for you, Beth. I have plans for you.
Oh, you're in trouble.
I have plans for you. I'm writing it down because I know I forgot a pen and paper.
She's gonna call in sick that night.
Sorry, I can't make it.
No, there's no calling in sick. If you're marked dead, you have to show up in your coffin. There's just no.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
Mom's not letting
Mom's
go.
tough.
I live very close to Lep, so I don't have an excuse.
Oh, so you can't even hide.
Yeah.
I live in the exact smack middle of Ireland.
Oh boy, so yeah, no escape for you.
No, there's too many locations that I've been to with too many. I say Wicklow was a good place. Wicklow Jail was a good place. I have pictures of something that I cannot make out, and I can say it, but I can show the pictures at another time. But down in one particular part of Wicklow Jail, and at one of the basements in the cells, there was a malevolent man, and I think I was having a night, and I just said, today's not the day. My saying is, today's not the day, and I am not the one. Okay, so I've got he was a mean man to people or to women, and I was just like, no, today's not the day. So we were taking pictures and pictures, and there's something behind me. There was 3 women together, but there's something always behind me. So picture we're taking one after the other. But you can see whatever's behind me, move in, move out, move bigger. Someone even said to me, Jen, it looks like, plasma. It's a weird picture, but I will show you and put it up on my Emerald Isle page eventually. Lep Castle, in the Bloody Chapel, smell of sulfur, which I've never gotten in the 7 years that I've have investigated there. That was a new one for me last year. Another place, Redwood Castle, which we're going to this year for a weekend. We're going to spend the weekend there. That was, I seen a woman there in Redwood Castle. Hellfire Club in Dublin. There's been a few. I mean, I know Hellfire Club in Dublin is what people want to see, want to do. And it is a great place. I've done there many times, many years. And the audio is great. It's good. I'd like to say it was better. And I'm not, people saying Hellfire Club Dublin, but not every location people think it's so infamous that it's like, oh my God, it's the best of the best. It was good. It wasn't great. I've had better. Mm-hmm. The Millmet Museum here in my hometown in Drogheda, 10 out of 10. Brilliant. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely the best out of, between there and Lep Castle would be my 2 favorites. Of what we have gotten to this point and this day of saying And I always say, when you have enough, when you think you have enough, what more are you looking for? When you've felt it, you've heard it, you've seen it, what more are you looking for? When it comes to investigation, research, and paranormal, what more are you looking for? You've seen, and by Lord Jesus, I've seen, felt, absolutely, experience, 110%. The touch, yes, all of it. Audio, the best of the best. What more am I looking for? To one point when I thought at one point I was kind of getting, can I say the word bored? And I know people are going, oh, Jenny, don't get bored of the paranormal. I was a little bit. I was getting a little bored of it. But it always pulled me back into, I'm not done. I'm not finished. There's more. I know I'm good at what I do. I know I'm only getting comfortable now, if that makes sense. I'm only getting comfortable.
Right.
Before I would have that healthy fear in me. And I think this year I'm getting more comfortable when I do my investigations and so on, is that I'm comfortable doing it now. Like before, if you leave me in a room, I'm okay. I'm not great, but I'm okay. Now I'll go into the room by myself. I think just life has done so much that I'm okay doing paranormal. I don't know if that makes sense or not. But hi, Pam. Hi, Paranormal Monkey.
Hey, Justin, Pam, hi.
Hi, Jamie. I'm more comfortable doing investigations now, even though being doing it for 18 years. It takes a lot for you to learn your role, find your feet. And when people run into the paranormal, I'm doing it 6 months, I'm doing it a year, I'm doing it 2 years, I'm the creme de la creme, I'm going to run into a building. I wish you bloody well luck. I wish you luck. It takes a long time to find your feet when you investigate, and respect on locations, respect with people, buildings, owners, teams. It takes a long time to learn all of that and not run before you can walk. You know? And I just went off on a tangent there. Sorry, go ahead. Someone go.
No,
Go ahead.
no, that's good.
No, that's fine. Jimmy, all the times that you've been to Leap Castle, do you come across the same spirits or various ones?
Various ones.
Okay.
Some of them the same. I will hear the same voice. The children. I'll always hear the children. The same voice that I've heard. We don't know who he is, but he's definitely there. There was another particular voice that came through, and it's pure residual. Oh, no, really? Thank you. Jesus, like, wait, really? Okay, pull your seat.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Run. There's a new guy that I heard a few years ago, and oh my God, this was probably the best audio I've heard great EVPs from Leap Castle. This audio was the creme de la creme, so much that it was not being put up. We're trying to find out. Oh my gosh, it was residual. And a woman's name was mentioned, which we never get a woman's name, ever get a woman's name. So the woman's name stays private, that we know. And so we always ask for her and call for her. And I remember sitting one night in one particular area in the cafe, which I'm not going to say where, and I'd say, I heard your voice through this EVP, yada, yada, yada. And I said, what can we do to help you? What can we do? And I always say, the people who are in this room now, that you would have heard her, were you here? Did you see what happened? Because we could hear him and we could hear her on the same, the male and female on the same EVP. And it was horrible to hear. I'm not going to lie. It was horrible to hear. And then when I said, and I played that EVP back in that room, and I said, what can we do to help you? What can we do? Tell us, what can we do? And I'll get to that one second. And I heard a woman, and back when I did a playback was, help Jenny, help Jenny, help Jenny, from a female. So I don't have my phone on me this time now when I go back next week to play that audio back again. I don't have my phone on me, the old phone I used to use. But I will be playing audio back that's distressing, is to get some answers, if that makes sense, to get some answers from what we had heard. So that was definitely one of the best audios I've heard from the castle, from Leap Castle. With Paranormal Monkey, have you have you been able to match the name to any historical records? Within Leap Castle or any location?
I think what you were just talking about with the name that you come up with.
No names. No names. I have looked up the name. The name is not there. And I've said this for many years. And this is why we always repetitively go back to the same locations. People say, Jenny, why are you going back to the same locations? Why? It gets boring. And I'm like, not all history is written in books. You will never read these names in books. You'll read the important people, but you will never hear from the people who are not important in those locations.
Right.
They're just Joe soaps and they never made it into a book.
Mm-hmm.
So people that you hear repetitively, that you become, they begin to know you, you begin to know them. And then you get a name sometimes, not all the time, but you get a name sometimes. So there was no name for this woman in any books that I've looked up. No name. And
there is a problem with the census in Ireland past a certain date, because a lot of them were burned after the War of Independence. So it is quite difficult to, once you go back so far, to get census that goes back any further, because after a War of Independence, a lot of the, which would have been paper at the time, obviously, was burned. Mm-hmm. So like to get names, they probably would have existed on census, even if they were in the lower echelons. But those census are gone. There's, they're just gone. They're irreplaceable.
But also in Leap Castle, when the men who were there, these women would never have been known because they were brought over for entertainment only. So the names will never be known, whether it be census or not. The names will not be known because they were brought over for entertainment only. And from the EVP, what you hear in this EVP would add up to that. And that's why it's very horrible to hear. Very horrible to hear. It would make sense with the history of why young women or women would be taken over to Leap Castle.
So you were pretty much thinking you were hearing her being abused.
Yes. Mm. Yeah.
And there is documented history of that with the O'Carroll clan there. So that is well known. And there is Mildred Darby and other people who have stayed there give an account of the Red Lady, who is someone who was a captive, who was abused, and actually took her own life when the offspring of that abuse were murdered in front of her, apparently, and she's seen there and is heard to scream there. So whether that's the EVP she got, I have no idea, but she certainly wouldn't have been the only woman that would have been in that position there. It would have gone on wholesale.
Well, absolutely.
I think I did a story on the Red Lady, actually.
You did?
In my magazine a few issues ago. I looked up some stuff on that. Justin wants to know, at Leap Castle, have you had better results calling out?
In Gaelic rather than English.
Right, and then in the English, right.
Sometimes yes. I found that more in, if I can change the location, I found that out more in Hellfire Club in Dublin and the mountains. I found out you get more with the Gaelic in Hellfire Club. In Leap Castle, a little bit. I don't think we did as much Gaelic in Leap Castle. A little bit up in the Bloody Chapel, but more so in the Hellfire Club.
Could you demonstrate that for us?
Oh, Jesus, you want me saying what I said in the
Yes.
We're not going to understand what you're saying.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my God. What would I would say Jenny is Adam Dumb. Jenny is my name. What's the word for, what is your name?
Adam Doe.
Adam Doe. So and then you might get the usual F off. So you'll not get much of that. And then I'm trying to think what questions I ask in Gaelic. Cadatortu. How are you? We say Cadatortu August Cadator and Crack. How are you? And what's the story like? Kind of being typically Irish with them. You wouldn't get a lot more back with that. You don't want to know the rest of the things that I said in Irish.
But
I can imagine.
they may not necessarily have only spoken Gaeilge. So, like, I mean, none of the Darbys would have, they were Anglo-Irish, so they would certainly have been English speakers. And I mean, I would imagine that the clans possibly, more than likely, because they would have been under English rule. And after the penal laws, Irish was outlawed. So most Irish people within certain time spans would have spoken English, and possibly spoken Irish only amongst themselves, because if they were plotting against the English wouldn't have understood Gaeilge, so they would have probably used that amongst themselves, and would certainly have I mean, there is no Irish person that wouldn't learn a language that would allow them to gain power and money with our history, that wouldn't have learned a language to be in order to communicate with someone. So I mean, you can do, maybe I would think that we might try this time when we go back a bit of an Irish prayer, maybe in the Bloody Chapel, because definitely prayer would have been said in Latin, because all priests even in those times would have learned Latin and probably would have gone to Rome, and also Oscuelga, because they would have had when Catholic worship was outlawed, they would have moved to mass rocks that were out in the countryside, and their congregations would have congregated at mass rocks, and certainly the service would have been said Oscuelga rather than in Osberla, which would be English. So maybe a prayer might be more, if anyone does end up at Lep and try it in the Bloody Chapel, maybe they might have more success with a prayer, a little prayer in Irish, rather than might be more familiar. If there is a spirit there, it might be more familiar to them that you're praying in Irish rather than asking them questions, maybe, you know?
There's also a lot of different dialects of Gaeilge. So the Irish we speak today is
completely different.
Completely incomprehensible to the Irish that people would have used to have spoken, especially in the area that Lep is in, because it's incredibly rural. Even in Mildred Darby's book, there is a character in it that, is driving the horse and cart, and I can't even read it, and he's speaking English because the rural kind of accent that it's written in is so strong. So in Irish, I can only imagine that the kind of plain Irish that we learn here in school as we grow up, because Irish is mandatory in Ireland to learn, would be just completely incomprehensible to native Irish speakers back then. So there's also that to kind of contest with.
Plus, we don't speak English as English. We speak Hiberno English, which is a kind of a cross between a lot of the English we speak is littered with kind of Irish phrasing. So that's why our way of speaking is completely different to England, the way the English speak in England. So I think maybe the Hiberno English that we use would be familiar to them. And maybe prayer Oscuelga, but I cannot see how our form of Irish, unless you are a Gaeilgeoir, as they call them, and is familiar with old Irish.
Sean, the man who lives there, is a Gaeilgeoir.
Yeah, Sean Ryan, actually, the guy that owns it, is a Gaeilgeoir.
Yeah. And I think with Paranormal Monkey, no, listen, it's open to everyone to come to Lep Castle with us. And I love, my favorite thing is when I was doing the Millment in Drogheda, I was taking a few English people with me to the Millment Museum here in Drogheda, where Oliver Cromwell had come over and to Ireland and to Wexford and had fought with Ireland, kind of like destroyed Ireland just a little bit, Oliver Cromwell. But yes, if you want to come over to the Lep Castle, anybody, and I encourage anyone who wants to come over to Lep Castle, let us know. If we have the right numbers, we will book it, and we are doing a night, and you sleep in the castle. Now, you have to bring beds and blankets with you and so on. We will supply them here in Ireland for you. I'll go through, if you want to come over to Ireland and later in the year, I will book Lep Castle. If I need to have 10 numbers. That's it, 10 numbers. There is a price. 10 people. There is a price on it, obviously, but that will be all done in private. But if anybody wants to go up to Lep Castle, let me know. We will work with the team. We will find out what days is good for us. And yes, Paranormal Monkey, you are more than welcome to go over to Ireland, and you are our fresh meat, as we say, our fresh meat.
Yeah, Justin. All right.
Yes.
I have a question. How far back does the castle date?
There is history of a castle, an actual dwelling there since 500. So 450 BC. So, and prior to that, it was used as a druidic initiation site. So it's on a hill, as all good castles are, for defense. But there is, it's in an area of Ireland. It's very hard to find an area in Ireland that isn't peppered with stone circles, megalithic tombs, druidic sites. And there certainly is some kind of Celtic heritage there with druidic practice, but it was dark practices. It was initiation practices. And as we know from the National Gallery in Ireland, who are in possession of what we call the bog bodies. These are bodies that were preserved in bogs and were removed, have been found and excavated. And some of them, one in particular, bears marks of ritual killing. So there was definitely some form of sacrifice practiced by the Celtic forebearers, whomever they may be. And there certainly are loads of gruesome folktales that are probably are rooted in fact. So they may be fictional stories about St. Patrick and the snake and the Red Lady and Loch Derg and all those kind of things, but there are some basis of fact to them that is probably a true history. Because Ireland's history isn't written. Traditionally, Ireland's history would have been handed down by Shanachie, which is a spoken history. So all those folklore tales that have come, they may have mythological creatures, but they were probably rooted in factual stuff that would have been practices of the time,
Right. Exactly.
Nice. Michael has the question. Do you think that speaking the native in your homeland language at the place you're investigating may help you get more accurate responses?
I think so. I do think so. I know, say, for example, in fresh meat. I love fresh meat. That'll be
Justin's a hottie.
I would imagine it depends on who you're trying to make contact with. So a huge amount of Irish history would be the megalithic, the cairns, the burial chambers like Newgrange, Lockheed, all those kind of places. But most buildings I've been in are probably Georgian, Victorian era. So they would have been Anglo-Irish occupied, and they would have spoken the Queen's English. So it depends on what you're investigating. I do know the place we're going to go to later in the year called Woodlawn House, which is an old Gothic manor house, stunning location. And the three of us are actually going to go and have a little snoop around. And there it was Anglo-Irish, and they hated the native Irish. And they were Protestant, and the only servants that were allowed actually in the main house had to be of Protestant persuasion, no Catholic servants allowed. They treated their servants so horrendously. And when America's Frederick Douglass came, the abolitionist, he visited Woodlawn at one stage and stayed there for a week and said that the Irish servants that worked there were so badly treated. They were treated worse than the slaves in America, apparently, and that he went home then and wrote his paper on the abolition of slavery. So, and this is documented. So it's documented in fact if you look it up. But so there, it depends on who you're trying to contact. I mean, if you're trying to contact some poor little Catholic servant girl, maybe Irish would be more familiar to her. She definitely wouldn't have been able to read or write. But as to the people who own the houses, they would have been highly educated.
Yes. Now I'm going to get to the question now, a pump. Is it true that there's an elemental at Leap Castle?
Ooh.
A friend of mine had taken a picture in Lep Castle, and I met with her a few weeks ago, and a few years ago. Sorry, not a few weeks, a few years ago. And she was showing me this picture of the balcony on the second floor in the banquet room, which we call it. And she showed me this picture when we were out one night at a paranormal convention. And there was a reason why they never went back to Lep Castle, was because of this picture. And I looked at the picture, and it takes a lot for me to get my interest. And I seen this picture and I thought, okay, but I wanted more. I wanted the picture. I wanted to dissect it. I wanted to look at it longer than what was shown. It was shown in a pub when we were all out that night, and like it was a quick scene for like 10 seconds, and I was like, oh my god, like this is a great picture. And do I think there's an elemental in it? I'm gonna say yes, even though from what I've heard from that EVP, and the elemental is not that great of the people have seen it, is a half a goat, half a man. These are things that people are seeing and saying and writing about and so on and so on. I don't think it's anything like that. I'm just going by the EVP that I heard. What I think it's there, I would say yes. I would say yes. For a long time, I would say no, until I went to the place more and more and more. And now I'm going to say yes. And in that room that we go into, I would say there's something very negative in there, extremely negative. When I was doing that show, and I did say I would never want to be in that castle by myself, like ever. I don't care if it's downstairs on the first floor, second floor, third floor, never by myself, not even in daytime. But I want to be in that castle by myself.
Wow.
In that castle, yeah.
Well, the last official sighting of the elemental, I think, was 1915. And I think it was linked to Mildred Darby and her occult practices of seances, etc. But there are some other people who have been on their own since in the last 20 years that have said that they have seen something very odd there. Now, interestingly enough, Jenny, the elemental, no matter who has seen it, it is always accompanied by the sulfuric smell.
Mildred Darby writes about that in her book.
Yeah, and not just her husband saw it, who was an absolutely...
But he won't admit it.
An staunch orange man. He absolutely had nothing whatsoever to do with any of the paranormal, frowned upon it, did not like it, did not want her practicing, but she was obviously a very strong character and really didn't care what he said. And I'd say the marriage was pretty bad at that stage, but it is always, any documented case of this elemental has always been accompanied by a sulfuric smell. And when I researched in the Occult Review what all these paranormal experts who are incredibly famous people in history and would have started all the psychical research groups and societies in London and all that kind of thing. These were the beginnings of that. And they think their take on elementals is that they have, it shows up in every religion, every era, every corner of the world has a story that is related to an elemental, and it's they surmise that it was something to do with the earth, and also that it was not ever a living person, that it was something without ever had a soul, was their way of explaining it. So it is quite possible that if there is an elemental, that it could be linked back to the druidic practices that predate Lep Castle's building.
Yes, that's what they say. The wind, the earth, the rain, everything.
Yeah, and that would have been what druidic practices would have been based on, was the alignment with sun, moon, stars, the seasons, because we all know our own Samhain and Lunasa and all those. That's what druidic practice was based on. So it could link back to that. But Jenny, always accompanied by a sulfuric smell.
Well, no. The first time was, like I said, 10, 11 years ago. And then the second time was 1 year ago. And in the same place we're going to next week, Lep Castle, in the bloody chapel. And I have to say, we had a guest with us from Washington. And I said, so what do you think of Lep Castle? What do you think of it? He's never left Lep Castle. He's never left America before. We took him to Redwood Castle. We took him to Lep Castle for a week away from America and whatnot. These are the creme de la cremes, you know. And so I said to him in the bloody chapel, what do you think of Lep Castle so far? Thank you. Go Rav Mahaga. So I had said to this guy, and I said, what do you think of the Lep Castle? Like it is the creme de la creme. And he goes, yeah, it's good, Jenny. And I'm like, what? People go broke to pay to come over to Ireland to see Lep Castle. But I said, right, you know what? The bloody chapel is a little bit quiet. The banquet room is more active. The bloody chapel is a little bit quiet, but there is activity here too. Now, those windows upstairs in the bloody chapel, obviously there's no windows of glass in them. It's just a frame. It's beautiful. Now, standing up there at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning, when you see the fields and the cows and the sheep and the sunrise, it is majestic. I have pictures of it. Beautiful. But within 10, 15 seconds later, I had grabbed onto his arm and I'm like, I had this immediately in my nostrils, immediately. You know when a smell comes in and you visualize it floating, and then you get the smell? This was immediately in my nostrils. I got it, and within 5 seconds, I was like, oh, bleep. Oh my God. And I said it to myself, and I'm like, I'm not doing this again. So I kind of held onto Michael's arm, and I said, we need to leave here now. And I had guests with us who has never been to Lep Castle before. And I was like, we need to leave. We have to go. It frightened me so much. Like, you have to keep your head screwed on. You have to keep it together. Your team leader and so on. You know, don't leave them in the bloody chapel. Go with them. And I said, if you want to stay, you can stay, but I'm leaving. You have to take everybody with you. And then only on the way down did they could smell it then. And I don't know if it was power of suggestion, if you could smell what I was actually smelling. You know, but I could smell it. And I kept saying, my coat, because I had a long coat. Is my coat burning? Is my coat burning? I was like, Jenny, what's happening? I went downstairs and I sat at the fire and I sat with one of the pets, and I'm like, oh my God, that happened to me again. And I just said, I never want that to happen to me again. This is the second time. I know it well. And I hated it. And then they were all upstairs in the bloody chapel, and I radioed up to them saying they were using the spirit box. And I said, find out if it's okay if I go up. And the woman upstairs on the spirit box said no. They said it's okay if Jenny comes back up, and the female voice was no. We have fantastic video footage from there as well. I haven't put it up on my page yet, but I have to adjust it a little bit and then I'll put it up. It just matches. Yeah, definitely. Listen, like I said earlier, if anybody wants to come over to Ireland, let me know and I'll arrange everything. We need 10 people. If you take 20 people with you, you're kind of, it's up to you. I've been there for many years. I know what's happening. If you want the best of the best experience, less is more. So if you have 20 people, it's not going to work. It's going to be noise. There is noise from the first floor to the second floor. It's a wooden floor. From the second floor to the third floor, you can't hear anything, but you'll hear the stone steps if people are walking up and down. And so basically, you know, we can talk about this. Yeah, we can get everyone over, but less is more. I'd say the most I would take would be about 15 people. That's pushing it. Even with me, that's pushing it.
And you just have to split those groups, I would imagine.
You'd have to split
them.
Yeah,
you'd have to split even at 15.
Radio, split them. But if you want the best of the best, if you want the best experience, you can have 10 people with us. There will be the team excluded from the 10 people. So that'll be 13 in total. That's what we do. So if you want to, you know, do that, then we're going back to Lep Castle again later on. We're going back next week, but later on this year, we're obviously going back again. It's only 2 hours away from me. It's not too far away from you ladies. And, you know,
47 minutes or something from me. And the same for Bethany.
It's in the middle of us.
And of course, it goes without saying, whatever we find, if we do find anything this trip, we will certainly post.
It goes up. It goes up.
Yeah.
I do the audio work and the video work as well, so they do go up. They
Okay.
do.
But we'll post pictures of it anyway. It's a really cool, interesting building. Obviously, incredibly old. Really gorgeous building. Really gorgeous owners. So it's an interesting place to even look at. You know, that you don't get to see that kind of age of a castle that you have access to.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, the most horrifying experience I had in the bloody chapel wasn't paranormal. We were all
No,
stood in a
that's
circle
true.
in the dark, having like a moment of silence, you know, hear the noises, and a pigeon pooped on me. And I've never let out a bigger scream in my life because I had no idea what had happened. It's pitch black up there. There's no electricity, nothing. There's not even windows. And I scream right in my head and down my face.
Oh no!
On an overnight.
Oh, it's supposed to be good luck. I think
That's
it's
what I
good luck,
heard.
right?
Oh,
Did not
good
feel
luck.
lucky.
Well, you didn't meet the elemental, so maybe it was good luck.
Yeah, see, Beth, you get the pigeon shit, and I get the
And you
elemental.
just get the
Oh my god! Oh my god! Can you,
actually think
Jenny?
that's
Can you guys explain, if everybody doesn't know in the audience, what is an elemental and what does it mean when you smell the sulfuric acid?
Oh, the Lord. Oh, an elemental would be, oh my gosh, from what I know of an elemental, now I know Jacqueline will probably know a little bit more than me. An elemental for me is earth, is just the environment, the earth, what they have, wind, what's it, wind,
Fire,
my cat.
Fire, water.
air, fire, water, earth.
Not my cat, even though my cat is an elemental by itself. Crazy. The only thing I can explain would, like, the elemental is nature. It's a force of nature. It's not a spirit. It's not a demon. It's nothing like that. What people say. It's a force of nature that was man-made, basically man-made. The smell of sulfur. It is the most. I'll tell you now. I'll tell you, as we say in Ireland. I'll tell you something, and I'll tell you no more. It was. I know I haven't said that in years now. It is the most scariest experience. It really is. It really is. I remember being up in Shane's Castle up in the north of Ireland. Shane's Castle is just tunnels. There's no castle. It's a ruin of castles, but it's tunnels. Anybody who watched the Game of Thrones, they used to film in there and so on. It is just tunnel upon tunnel upon tunnel. I remember walking in one night after doing a reenactment beforehand, and I was only new in the paranormal, that the founder said to me at one point, "Jenny, you have to provoke." And I'm like, I'm not provoking. We had people with us, we had team with us, we had public with us. So he said, "Jenny, you have to provoke." And I was new, so I'm like, I kind of don't want to, with respect. But I did. It was being filmed and whatnot. And there was French soldiers down there, Spanish, British soldiers down in these tunnels with the Irish people, and, you know, holding them captive. The same with French people and Spanish people and British people. They were held down there captive as well. So I was kind of provoking and so on and so on. And then things were happening and whatnot. We went in a coffee break. We came back, coming to the end of the night, and Mick said, "I'm going to stay upstairs, up on ground level. And Jenny, you take your group down to where we had done the reenactment," because he was sitting on a chair with a rope around his neck, a hat over him, what they would have done back in the day, or something similar to that. And I was walking in, and the minute you walked in, you could see this. It's beside a lock. It's beside a man-made lock. But you're so low under the ground in these tunnels that there's graves above you. And I remember walking in with one of the team members and guests with us, and you could see this kind of like misty thing, you know, and we're thinking it's like part of the lock, you know, mist, and, you know, there's bars on the windows and whatnot. Immediately, my nose, again with my nose, sulfur, like 100 matches were lit.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the one. That's it, Chantel. That's it. Yeah. Air signs, air, water, fire. That's it. And it's made. So the smell of sulfur came into my nostrils, and, you know, the top of your palate of your mouth, it was like I got an irritation from it, and it was powerful. It was horrible. So I said to my friend, and I said, we're still going in. And she goes, Jenny, no, we can't. And I'm like, we're going in. If they know we're here and then we know they're here, this is why we are here. It's to find out. But back in those days, I wasn't as knowledgeable, if I can say the word knowledgeable, as I am now. I was just untrained, didn't have enough experience back then. Stupid. And I wanted to keep going in. And then in the end, I said, right, do you know what? For the sake of the public, we'll turn around and go back out. So we did that. And I said, I don't know why we're leaving if they know we're here and we know they're here. That's the whole point of why we're here, what we do. Within, say, 10, 15, 20 seconds later, it was as if, and we're in these tunnels, we have torches, and that's it. It's as if someone had run, this is me, as if someone had ran up towards me or through me. Where it was like the Matrix, where my eyes closed, my head went back a little bit. I kind of came back up. I lost my hearing. And I said to my friend, you need to take me out now. You need to take me out. And I said to myself, don't panic. If I panic, I lose it. Take me out. It took me about 2 months to go back to that place again. 2 months. And when I did go back, I said, sorry. So when I smelled that sulfur again in the bloody chapel, it was exactly... And I just want to bleep, 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 bleep here right now. It was exactly the same thing that I had smelled in Shane's Castle. And I just knew. I told her he's the elemental. And I just knew. Hi, Greg. I want to say hi to Greg Coss. Hi, mate, Greg. I miss you. It was. I don't want to smell it again. And when I go back up to the chapel now next week, you know.
You'll be grand. You'll be grand. Don't worry about it. You'll be grand. I'll mind you. You'll be fine.
You'll be grand.
I can give you from the Occult Review from 1913 what the Occult Review and the secret societies of the Golden Dawn and all those ilk gave as the definition of an elemental, if you'd like. They said that they appear in all nations, ancient and modern. Their names are legion. Paris, Jinn, Sylvans, Satyrs, elves, dwarfs, trolls, fairies. They have been seen, feared, blessed, banned, and invoked in every quarter of the globe in every age. So that to me says that it is something, and our own fairy would be the Sai. So I think that maybe it's from a time before history books began, maybe, and from the earth, really. And I don't think it's ever, like, the definition of it is that it's something that would have ever lived physically, like you, I, or everybody else. Mm-hmm. But that's what they believe elementals were, yeah.
Throughout history, people have personified it rather than it actually being a person.
Yeah.
I guess if you saw something like that, you would hope that it was a person.
Well, maybe in the inception of hell, our current understanding of what hell is, maybe we've just purloined, as all beliefs and doctrines have been purloined from other beliefs and doctrines preceding it, that we have purloined the smell of sulfur and devils and all that, and just made ancient things like elementals into our devils that we talk about now. So who knows? I mean, we just don't know is the answer. But I don't think it's like the perceived or expected normal spirit that you would be, as people term ghosts and things like that, or residual hauntings or anything like that. I think it's something quite separate.
Mm-hmm.
So
what tools and technology do you find the most useful to use on your investigations?
Well, I know Jenny is a big EVP.
Mm-hmm.
Big time EVP is great at getting them. Generally, we use all the normal equipment, voice recorders, cameras, spirit boxes, K2s, they're called, the light up. I'm not great on the old technology. But I think the best thing you can do, and what myself and Bethany certainly did before we joined Jenny, is we would visit somewhere and just stand and listen and see how you feel, see if you feel any differently, see if You feel it. I certainly felt a change of pressure when I was in Loftus Hall, just prior to what happened to Bethany. I was in a different room in the dark on my own for 15 minutes, just standing by a wall. And there was definitely, I had a problem with pressure. So I think the best thing maybe you can do is listen first off. That's what I find. I can't speak for anyone else. I find if I go in, listen. I mean, how do you know that a sound is an anomaly, or something you're recording is an anomaly? Unless you first gauge and see, is there any sound in a place first? Is there any like interference? Is there any radio playing in the background? Are there people down the street that are echoing? Because, and especially a lot of the places, I live by Lough Derg, which is a huge lake, huge body of water. And the way that water distorts sound is like, we can hear it from, on certain days, whatever way the wind is blowing, we can hear it from miles away. And other days you may not hear it. So I think probably the best thing to do is to listen. I have used most stuff. I'm not afraid of using anything. I don't assign any particular fear to any form of investigation, whether it's old-fashioned things like talking boards or pendulums or dowsing rods, or whether it's the newer, more scientific forms of recording EVPs, or I think they're all the same thing personally. I think all you're trying to do is create a dialogue with something. If there's something there, is to create a dialogue. And what way you do that, but I certainly think you need to take the measure of a place before you actually try to achieve anything in a place, because how do you know if something is an anomaly unless you actually open your ears and listen in the beginning?
That's it. Yep. That's it. What was the question?
I was just saying there that she was asking what kind of equipment, and I said you're the EVP.
Thank you for joining.
Oh, the EV. Oh, thank you so much, Sam Haynes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The EVPs is my thing. That is me. I am EVP all over. What you like, Jennifer? EVP. EVP is my go-to. Definitely. No matter what. Videos are great. EVPs are a little bit more special, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember, right? And I remember being on the show before with Dr. Kieran O'Keefe, and we were talking away, and I've been speaking to someone in the paranormal, and he says, which I understand, that EVPs are more common and more known than video work, because video work is more hard to watch, see, debunk. It could be anything. You're not in the room with them. It's the same with EVPs. You're not in the room with them, but EVPs are just that little bit more easier to get, if that makes sense. So we know, like, I know I am very strict. I'm very, very strict when it comes to EVPs. If you breathe, if you walk, if you have to hold your breath, hold your breath. I remember one guy was breathing through his nose, and his nose was whistling. I don't know why my camera's blurry for, but his nose was whistling. And I said, open your mouth, breathe through your mouth.
It's the veil, right? It's the veil.
Right, maybe it is. And I was like, stop breathing through your nose, because I'm at home doing audio, like say 3 a.m, and I'm doing audio, and because when you start, you don't stop. And it's just, I get too excited. I get so excited. It's my thing. And then when you leave, especially with the ITC is my favorite thing to use and what to do. That's the cat coming back in. It's the ITC, and where we would leave a mobile phone, right? And I know people say mobile phones, no, and we don't use our mobile phones. The only thing we do is we note everything down. So my mobile phone and WhatsApp, and I don't know why WhatsApp is the one that we choose to use. Everything else that we try to use with that, say Facebook calling or video calling and so on, doesn't work. It's WhatsApp. So someone will call my phone on WhatsApp. I will answer, put them on speaker, vice versa. And then I will put my phone down into one part of the location with a recorder in the same room, but away from the phone, so it does not contaminate each other. Then we go to a different part away from that room where we had left these devices, and then we will call out. It is the best thing. Oh my God. Wow. It is crazy. It is absolutely, I have one of the many of responses back through the phone. So when you can hear, like, say on my phone here, you can hear, and I look at everybody and I just say, quiet, listen. No one talks. No one talks. If you move your foot, I tag it for the sake of the audio. somebody's foot has moved. Tag everything. When you're talking, you will get voices coming through the phone. And I know it sounds crazy, but you will get some voices coming through the phone. You will get a and I'm like, and we're all like, so like I continue on with my next question. And then we take the phone back, we take the recorder back. We let them know we're going down to take the phone and recorder back. And as the guys were walking down into the kitchen area, saying the museum, Milmet Museum, you could hear these two people talking among themselves before the guys go down and pick up the phone. And one of the favorite pieces that I use on shows that I do when I do EVPs, ITC call-outs, is one of the pieces that I've heard. And I just thought, we were like, are you bleeping kidding me? Are you bleeping kidding me? It's just phenomenal. I think, and I know some people use it, I think it should be used more because it is phenomenal. Between the phones, I remember last year we were in Lep Castle and we did this. We were in the banquet room, we left the phone and recorded down in the greenhouse in the back of Lep Castle. And we were sitting at the banquet table and I was saying, right, we're going to sing Ring a Ring a Rosie. And I said to David, okay, David, go ahead and sing. He goes, oh, I'm not singing. We were downstairs at the fire and I said, we were doing a playback. And we can hear this little girl going, yes, David.
Oh, wow.
And there's two girls, Emily and Charlotte, who had lived in the castle, who had passed away in the castle, that it would have been one of them. And I remember being there years ago, interacting with them as well. So it is one of the many ITCs best ones that we had. It was brilliant. Yeah, it was brilliant.
Fantastic.
I think it needs to be used more. I have no idea. My camera is bloody blurry, but it's driving me insane. It's driving me crazy. Why?
It's fine.
That's the veil, Jenny, the veil.
Is it a veil?
I don't know how people feel about research. I like to know if I'm going with some other paranormal group to some place I've never been before, and it's not my investigation or the team's investigation, I really don't like to know anything. I just go blind. But if it's ours, I like to have a bit of knowledge. I mean, the investigation that we went to Cove in Cork to the Sisters of Mercy Convent. I did a lot of research, as I do on every place before the team goes, and we were doing with Jenny. She was sitting in the corner with a blindfold on, listening to the spirit box, and she was just calling out whatever came across. She was calling out, and it wasn't actually me that was asking the questions. It was another team member was asking the question, and Jenny was sitting on the floor, and she was coming back with all kind of random stuff. And next thing, she comes out with fresh sheets, a phrase you wouldn't think anything of it, but because I had done a ton of research, there was research there because it had been an orphanage, and it was very cruel. And if any of the children wet the bed, they were made to wear the sheet around their head for the day. And the minute she said fresh sheets, I went, is this got to do with that? And nearly instantaneously, Jenny came out with the phrases, get out of here. It got very aggressive. So if we hadn't done that little bit of research, I don't think fresh sheets would have meant anything to me. No. So it depends on where you're going and what you want to achieve, really.
And that was called the Estes method. Mm-hmm. Where I have the spirit box and the headphones, and I can't see or hear anything. So that's.
And she couldn't hear me, but I wasn't actually asking questions.
No, I couldn't hear anything. Beth was like, we were working around the clock, literally working around the clock, and I tell you, we were almost going to do a back-to-back investigation next weekend, but we can't. But if we could, we would have. Well, we would have gone to 2 different counties in Ireland to do back-to-back investigations. Unfortunately, we can't. But next week, I'm so looking forward to it. I'm excited.
Jenny,
go ahead.
Jenny.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, you have an EVP of me snoring but you couldn't hear me at the time. I fell asleep up against a wall.
Well, I mean,
Falling asleep on the job.
at that stage, we've been on the go for about
It was
30
5
hours.
a.m.
Nobody's been on the
I
go
sat
for about
down.
30 hours at that stage.
It was crazy. Remember, we were doing in one of the nuns' rooms, and we were talking about Mara Scryan, and I said, "Oh, the last time I did Mara Scryan about 10 years ago, I said it frightened me way too much. I'm not doing it tonight." And then something inside me just said, "You know what, Jen? You know, life has taken its toll. What more can they throw at you, Jennifer? Just do it. Just do it." So I said, "I'll do it." And Jacqueline was saying, like, Jenny, I didn't mean to push it. I said, "No, you didn't push me for doing the scry." And I said, "I want to do it. I want to do it."
I kind of did.
I have to say in my chest, in my mind, it was like, I want to do it. I'm like, and then normally what I do at this stage is mute my microphone and say all the Irish words that nobody wants to hear in English. And I said, "No, I'll do it. I'll do it." So I did it, and it was crazy. It was, and we filmed a little bit of it. When we did it later on again, early in the morning time, I was a little bit fatigued, but it was different. It was different. But the beginning of it was just, and I have videos of it where I look, and I keep looking back in that video time and time and time again. While I'm blinking, and I remember Jacqueline was standing behind me, and I'm on the chair looking into the mirror, and I was blinking. I blinked my eyes, and I just said at one point, "Oh my God." And somebody said, "Oh my God." And then Jacqueline, you said, oh, Jenny. Because when I blinked, this is going to sound crazy. When I blinked my eyes, it looked like my eye went from right to left. And I'm like, "Oh my God, am I a lizard now? Am I a lizard?" Why did my eye blink? But then I watched that video back time and time and time again. I remember I had somebody from America mail me and said, "Jenny, I've watched the video. Your eyes didn't look normal." And I get that because I was basically, I'm staring at the mirror. I'm in a trance. But I find when I blinked my eyes, the more I look at it, the more I think it was the light on my pupil that when I blinked, it made it look like sideways. So these are the things that we have to look out for, and not just say, "Jenny, your eye just blinked a lot, right to left." That's no, "Oh my God, my eye blinked right to left. Am I a lizard?" These are the things you have to watch a million times to say, right, it was I was tired, but I wanted to blink, but I didn't want to blink. So I kind of closed my eyes a little bit to rest them and open them up again, but didn't close them fully. So the light, whatever the light was from, I think the light I had in my hand and so on, looked like my eye blinked sideways, which it didn't. But it looked very cool on video. It looked great on video. It's a great promo. It's a great promo video.
But your face certainly did change.
It did.
Oh.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. I swear to you, it changed. And I even made a joke.
And I have to tell you, your manner was very aggressive, which is not like you.
Really?
No, not in that sense. Do you know, I mean, you were angry. Oh my God, were you angry? It radiated off of you.
Yeah. I think it's because I was in a convent.
I think it was the history. Yeah.
I don't like convents. I don't like nuns, and I don't like priests. And people say, "Jenny, how and why not?" That's my thing. I don't like them. I did see one video during the week where a priest was being really cool at a wedding. And I said to myself, "Jen, stop tarring all the priests with one brush." Listen, that just kind of came and went out of my mind in 2 seconds. I don't like them. But it's the history of the convent that I absolutely hated. And I'm not there to be their best friend. I'm not there to provoke in any way, shape, or form. We are there solely for facts. If we don't have facts, we don't talk shit on locations. So do me a favor, throw a stone, throw this. We don't do that because that's just bull crap. Bull crap. I don't want to stay at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'd rather be in bed if you're going to throw a stone. Don't do
and
that.
nobody's throwing stones at me. Thanks very much.
I'd take a stone.
Well, I'm not. Thanks. You can take the hit for the team, Bethany. Yeah, it's not what we're about. We like to be able to base anything that we find as much as we can in the factual history of the location that we're in.
And like you, Jacqueline, when you did your history on this convent, was, like you said, with the sheet, fresh sheets.
It was a random phrase that you could pull out of nowhere, and it only made sense in the context of that convent.
And that, I think, for me, because I know I've been doing the SS method for a long time, that for me was and I love, who doesn't love validation on investigations? Who does not love validation? We need it, we want it. That's what we work towards. That alone, because you didn't even tell me about those fresh sheets. You didn't say anything to me about
No, I don't tell anyone the history. I just know it. So that, I mean, I'm not going to turn up at a location and go, hello, is there anybody there that wants to contact me? Can you, could you light up those lights again? And then could you do that again for me? I'm not doing that. I find that boring. And I'm sure if there's anyone there, they would find it boring too. You're just basically asking, do they want to be acknowledged? And if you want to be acknowledged, this is your opportunity. You know, I'm not there to anger anyone. I'm not there to chastise anyone. If you want to be acknowledged, if there is something here, come forward, be acknowledged. This is your opportunity. I'm here. I'm giving you the time. If you want to be acknowledged, you have multitude of ways to do it. That's why I know people don't like Ouija, but they don't like all of those things, all those old-fashioned methods. But to be quite honest with you, I don't see any difference between any of the methods. It is basically opening a dialogue. And whatever way, if there's anything there wants to open a dialogue, I'm happy to accommodate them in opening that dialogue.
Right.
What way? You let me know what way you'd like this conversation to go.
Right.
That's
and
wonderful.
it's not even for, I mean, the end of the what we do in location or investigations, the end is we're going into a location knowing what we know a little bit of history, but like I said before, not all history is written in books. We want to know the people who has not been heard. Like I have done on many locations of people that was never heard, but had suffered in these locations. Some have not. Most of them have. From the Drogheda Museum Millmount, we have a few people in there. We have them in Lep Castle. One of them too. One lady's name that is never ever going to be written in books. Who is she? Nobody knows. But we have the name, and I don't say the name to anybody. I have never told any other team about the name that I've gotten in Lep Castle unless they can come to me and say, Jenny, have you had this certain name? Yeah. And I will say yes or no. It could be the name that they would have gotten, I would not have gotten, vice versa. But I do have this name by this man's voice on recorder. So it's not to go in and you know, who are you? What are you doing? And so on and so on. There's residual, there's intelligent. What is the end goal of what we're doing in paranormal research? Is there life after death? Is there a story that you want to tell us? Is there something that you want to say that you couldn't say before? Is some help that you need that we can find someone to help us help you? Things like that. It's not all going in like, oh, go and hunt, we'll go ghost hunting. You know, we're not hunting rabbits here. We're not hunting We're investigating, we're researching what we can use that's best for them, what we can use that's best for us so we can hear them and find out. It's not to say who's the best. Who gives a crap about that?
I don't do anything. I don't do any channels for numbers. I don't have any skin in the game. I have a genuine curiosity. I have certain things in my head that I have in a file that say, I can't rationally explain this. I have to look beyond anything that can rationally explain it to me and look for some other kind of an explanation. And that's the reason I do what I do. Not interested in impressing anyone. I am literally interested in investigating an area to see if there is anything that I can get that can explain something that's happened to me over the course of my life, or that I can put into my other file saying, I can't explain this. And then further on until hopefully I'll find something that may explain it to me. And that's basically why I do it.
That is it. And there's a lot out there. Sorry, Bethany, go ahead.
I'm just here for a good time. I took shit scared out of me.
Oh, Bethany, wait until next week.
Oh,
She's for you.
She's the bird
Cat-
shield.
You can't scare me too much. I have to drive my motorbike home.
Oh no! Like we have investigated locations together, but we've never, myself and the team has never investigated Lep Castle together.
I'm
So-
so excited.
It'd be like, walking in and kind of like, yeah, put my bag down here and do what I have to do, like, and get on with it. I am. It's like my home. And then the following week, I'll be back in Lep Castle again for filming
Oh, wow.
something different. Yeah, something I'll be filming for something for another thing at a later time that will be on TV soon. Yes,
Nice.
Dangled the carrot, everybody. She dangled the carrots.
Yeah.
a little bit, but yeah, I'll be doing that as well the following week. So I'll be back down in Lep Castle again. It's like my home from home. It is my home from home. It is literally my home from home.
Fantastic.
Boo, we were just saying earlier on, we are obviously being in Ireland, we are in Lep Castle.
sorry.
We are in Lep
Less
Castle,
locations.
later on this year, if not once or twice more, we'll be in Lep Castle again. And we are looking to take people on who's never been to Lep Castle. We're looking for teams to come from different countries to come over to Lep Castle that we can take them in with us.
There you go, Jeff.
Yes.
And also with other teams, it's interesting because you get to observe how other teams operate. And if you don't learn from each other, I mean, nobody knows. It's not a specific science that you're operating in here. And you can say, this is the experiment. This proves the theory of the experiment. There you go. You need to do nothing else to prove your theory here. This is not like that. This is, look, I tried this, you try that, and see what works. And this may work for me, it may not work for you. Or you might find something that works and you think, God, this is a really good idea. And I mean, it's good to learn from other people. I have no skin in the game. I'm not interested in one-upping anyone. I am genuinely interested in other people's opinions and what they think that, and completely open to criticism. I mean, if I do something and somebody thinks they can make it better or do it better than me and show me a better way, I'm quite happy to take that on board.
Right, but that's why we're saying, like, we are going to stand back. Obviously, we're going to guide people into Lep Castle, but like I said, anybody who wants to come to Lep Castle, contact me. I will conduct the whole thing and make sure everything runs smoothly and so on. But it's going to happen this year. And if you want to do it for next year, let me know. Contact me. I will contact Sean and I will do the whole arrangements and whatnot. We will be with you, obviously. But we will do an investigation with you, and then we'll stand back and let you take the reins and do what you want to do. And I won't show you the hotspots. I'm going to let you take the reins. It is your night. You paid for it. It's your investigation. I will guide you into it. The team will guide you into it. And it is just an idea that if people want to come over,
Show you
contact
what
me,
we do.
and I will arrange the rest of it. Yeah, you see, I don't just show up. I do all the work in the background. Jennifer is like, the secretary, I'm the founder, I'm the secretary, I'm everything else.
Let's know, Jenny, you're the founder.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that's lovely. No, I mean, it's we obviously do our own thing, but we're quite happy to see other people do their thing also,
Absolutely. And I love, like I said earlier on, people who come to Lep Castle who's never been there before, is fresh meat. If I take anyone to Redwood Castle, it's a great location too. It's fabulous. Hellfire Club, it is great. It is a track alone by itself. Wicklow Jail, there's other places. These are places that you book to go into, but there's millions of places that Jacqueline and Beth would know in Ireland that you can just turn up to. And the same, and I live in Drogheda, so I'm about 12 minutes away from Newgrange. It is on my doorstep. I live beside the famous River Boyne. So there's Mellifont Abbey, there's Newgrange, famous. There's Newgrange monuments beside me as well, about 12 minutes away from me. So there's many places that even Jacqueline and Beth are going to take me in Wicklow to go and see that I haven't seen before, but it's on their doorstep basically. So and it's in the middle of Ireland, isn't it? That you don't book to go into.
Athlone, yeah.
Athlone, yeah, in Athlone.
No. Listen, there isn't a spooky, rundown, derelict house or castle, I'd say, that I don't know about in Ireland, or how to get to it, or a field I'm not willing to cross, or a gate I'm not willing to hop over. But myself and Bethany, legally now, but Bethany and myself were in a very interesting place in Mallow in County Cork. It was an abandoned, originally it was a TB hospital for the fresh air cure in the TB epidemic in the early 1900s, and subsequently in the 50s and 60s was turned into a geriatric nursing home. So it would have been people with dementia. There was a very sad case, the reason it was closed down. And there was one, we've been there several times. It's now closed. You cannot get access anymore.
Like a whole village.
But yeah, it's like a village when you went in. And there was one particular building that neither of us liked. And we went in there. The last time we were there, we went in there. And I had done a bit of research and had come across two names of two nurses that were involved. Now, these are living people, so I won't name them. Were involved and actually had to defend their case in court in the death of a lady there. And we went in, and I hadn't spoken the names there before, but we just did a bit of a call out and spoke the names. I kid you not, the minute we spoke the two names, there was like a, and then a slam of a door. And the two of us just looked at each other. And because we weren't recording because we weren't expecting anything. And we kind of got a bit of a jolt and thought, we actually thought, because it's abandoned, we actually thought it was a person. And we were like, oh, hang on, we're two girls on our own in the middle of nowhere.
We've met groups of people there before,
strange
like
individuals, to say the least.
Some strange people, but then like groups of young lads just like
windows
breaking glass or like throwing stones, just messing. Yeah. So our initial panic was this was a person. Because it is in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So
nowhere to go.
after we decided, we said we better check out the site just to make sure that we are alone here. So we did that. It's a huge site, huge. And so we did check it out, and we went back to the building to see, because there was a couple of bangs as we approached it, like a door banging, and we went in, and it sounded like it had come from an attic overhead of somebody tubbing with footsteps and then slamming a door. And went in and walked down to where we had heard the sound, and the ceiling was gone. So it wasn't possible for someone to have been running overhead and slamming the door.
They were just
the ceiling was gone.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. The rafters were all that was there.
I do have one of the bangs.
It was very, now unfortunately we can't get access at the moment. Yeah.
I do have a video.
And one of the doors open there, as we were walking along.
Wow. There was a church.
So there are, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a building with a long haunted history. I mean, you can chance your arm in any building and call out and see, is there anything happening, in my experience anyway.
Absolutely.
That was Heatherside Hospital was the name of it.
Wow.
Heatherside Hospital.
Mm. Yeah,
it's been.
No, I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, yeah. It's just something I put in my brain and go, I cannot explain that.
So, is there any place on anyone's bucket list they would want to go to?
Yes, there is for me.
Go on.
Go on.
I always have this little laugh after it. Well, there's two places. Okay, the first one would be the Vatican.
Been there.
I want to be there investigating.
It's really hard with all the tourists.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Right? But it's my thing to investigate, and the other one is Alcatraz. I've always
going there.
I know so many people said Alcatraz and so on and so on. It is my want to go place. I would just love that. And I get why people want to go. I'm going to go just for that. The Vatican would be another place, like the first place I said, because there's people say, Jenny, it's religion. They're not going to answer you on X, Y, Z, and they're not going to let you in. And that's okay. They're not going to let me in, but I do want to go to the Vatican.
Interestingly, there's a place near the Vatican that you can say it's belonged to a seminary, and you can book it and stay there if you're, I suppose, of a certain religious persuasion. They might let you stay. And there are huge stories about that. And it's in Vatican City, but it's not the actual Vatican, but it is a seminary that is quite close to the Vatican building. And you can book in there and you can stay there as a normal, like Airbnb kind of thing. So maybe that'll do you.
No, I could, but have you ever been to Boleskine House? I know it's in Scotland, but sort of in your area. No, have not been.
Boleskine House. No, I've never actually heard of that.
No, have not been. That is in our area, but still across the sea. It's not. It's near.
Expensive to get to.
Unachievable, though. Not unachievable.
Well, exactly.
I want to go to Chillingham Castle in England.
Oh yes, yeah.
I'd love to go to Chillingham and stay.
Oh, I know a few people who get you into Chillingham. The arseholes. Don't go with them.
No. Whoa, it was Aleister Crowley's mansion. Is that the one by Loch Ness? Yeah, I've heard of that actually, as you say it now. Yeah, I think there's somebody renovating or something there at the moment. Boo Productions Paranormal. There's somebody renovating it because they had a fire. So yeah, and Aleister Crowley would we all know the infamous Aleister Crowley and his occult practices and the of Golden Dawn.
Is there any place that you would not go to, and why?
No.
I have one. There is one place I would never go to. No matter if you gave me a free ticket and a free ride over, I would never, ever go to it. Ever. Would be the Suicide Forest in Japan.
Oh.
I couldn't. I would never. No, I couldn't. Would you go?
Listen, Jenny, if they ask me to go somewhere, I'm going. I'm going.
Yeah. I'd go anywhere.
But there's a nowhere. Like, that's one of my places that I would never go. And I have personal reasons why I would never go to it.
No.
I wouldn't go to it for personal reasons.
No.
I couldn't, and I wouldn't.
I have to say hand in heart, there isn't a place that I wouldn't go.
That's the Suicide Forest for me is not a place to investigate. It is not you investigate for research. Why would you go to the Suicide Forest in Japan?
I agree.
Let them be. Don't investigate it.
It's not a place I'd want to go or have a kind of a yen to go to. But if somebody said to me, "Hey, would you like to come to Japan and see our haunted Suicide Forest?" I'd say, "Okay. When would you like me to come?"
But it's not a tourist site, and it's not a place.
No.
Well, I'm going to disagree on that, and 100,000,000%. It's not a.
No, I don't think. I don't think the majority of places that there are a lot of places that you could say that about, that they are not tourist sites. But I don't consider myself a tourist, Jenny, and I'm not there for the thrills. So
no, I don't mean tourist. I don't mean a tourist. I do not mean.
I know dark tourism. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
So, but even for investigation, for going to see where people, and there's signs everywhere saying stop, go back, don't do it. It's just not my forte to do that.
No, I wouldn't do it because I think it's wrong, but I wouldn't be afraid of it.
Same
with like Auschwitz or anywhere like that. Like, you just
on a moralistic level, there's certain places I would go, but not on a paranormal level.
But I don't think Auschwitz had a choice. And I know with the Japanese Suicide Forest, it didn't have a choice either. They had a choice, but they didn't have a choice. Auschwitz never had a choice. They never had a choice to walk in.
Just out of respect for the dead, there's lots of places I wouldn't investigate, but that has nothing got to do whether I would be afraid paranormally to investigate them. But out of good manners, there are lots of places I wouldn't actually investigate.
Yeah,
on the basis of good manners only. But as to would I be scared to go to any particular place by the reputation? No.
That's the only place that I would not go to.
No.
Any Lady Victoria, Laura, would there be any place that you would not investigate?
Oh, well, I agree with you. I wouldn't do either of those places
Yeah.
out of respect for the ones that had passed.
Yes.
As far as anywhere else, no, we're not really.
Anything else is good. That's the only one we know.
Right. Yeah. Anything that had to do with any kind of like mass,
Right?
life loss, stuff like that. Yeah. No, I wouldn't do that because it just, you're disturbing something. It's like disturbing something sacred. I think it's just crossing a line on a personal level, but anywhere else, no, I haven't really thought of not investigating anywhere.
I would be on the same as you, Laura, out of good manners only, but not on an investigative like, oh no. But out of good manners, there are lots of sites that I personally wouldn't have an interest in investigating purely on that moralistically. I just wouldn't think it would be ethical.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm just texting my daughter. She's ringing me. Sorry, just texting my daughter. What would your favorite place be to investigate? Lady Victoria and Laura. No, I'm changing the questions over. What would be your favorite place to investigate?
Oh God, I have so many. Like I definitely want to get more out there and travel the world. I definitely want to come down to see you, Jenny. But also I want to, I would love to go to Alcatraz as well. Just a lot of like asylums. I would love to investigate. I love a lot of like abandoned hospitals, things like that, which I've only investigated one. So I would like to explore more of those as well. So yeah, I'm pretty much open.
Yeah, pretty much same with me. Ireland and England, I would love to be able to travel to. Just on the history alone, even if I didn't get any kind of results, the history there is amazing. And I want to see places where people haven't been. Here in the US, it's always the same places over and over. And that's why I'm really enjoying this program today, because we're hearing about places that I haven't seen anybody do.
Oh, gosh.
Well, listen, we're a fan of standing in a field in the middle of nowhere. Like, we're definitely like, that's where we spend the majority of time, is standing beside a field in the middle of nowhere where nobody's there, and you're looking at 4 ruined walls. I mean, when Jenny, in April, I think we're going to try to go to Woodlawn House, and we're also going to try a place called Moore Hall. But I mean, I'm not opposed to stopping the car mid-journey if I pass somewhere that I think looks interesting.
Right.
And also there's a very interesting site in Fermanagh called the Coneen Ghost House, which is quite an interesting place. And it is the only site that there is a recorded exorcism by a Catholic priest.
First one.
Right.
Yeah, the first one.
So, I mean, that's
it's actually,
It's just a ramshackle of a cottage.
It's a ramshackle tiny cottage.
There's another house up in the north of Ireland. Begins with C.
Oh, is that the really big one? The kind of wooden...
Yeah, it's been quite heavily damaged now.
With the porches.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm going to check with my friend.
We might do those 2 on the same trip.
It's a lot. And there's one what's the one in Mayo or Sligo?
No, Mayo is Moore Hall.
There's a haunted Radisson in Sligo.
There is a haunted Radisson, and
it used to be an insane asylum.
It used to be an insane asylum, and it's been converted into a hotel. The Radisson in Sligo.
There's a lot of places in Ireland that has turned from an asylum hospital into a hotel. Buildings. I stayed in Sligo, and I had my ex-team member with me, and we said, right, we'll go over to the west of Ireland. We were supposed to go to New Orleans to a wedding for 4 days, and I said that travel over is like a long travel for like 2 days and then back home, and I'm like, I don't like to fly even to the UK. I don't like to fly at all. So how are you getting me over to New Orleans and then for 2 day flying and whatnot? So we said, right, we'll go to Edinburgh. That's what we'll do. And then I was ready to go to Edinburgh, ready to book flights and whatnot. And even that flight was like an hour long, still didn't want it. And then he just came up and goes, Jenny, why don't we go to Sligo? I'm like, oh, great, let's go to Sligo. So
Such a random place to end up.
I think I would have gone to New Orleans personally, but anyway, go on.
But I love Sligo.
I'm not doing it.
Sligo is good too.
If I'm going to do like to New Orleans, I'm going to go for like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm not going for like 4 days. So then we ended up going to Sligo. We ended up staying in the Clayton Hotel, which was an old asylum hospital.
Yeah, I think that's the one that's the Radisson.
That's the one.
The haunted one.
So that's where I stayed. And me and Aidan, right? Aidan is one of my good friends he used to be on the team. And I said, Aidan, we're booking in if we have the rooms next door to each other, because I know what this place is about and so on and so on. So we get into our rooms. It was at the end of the hotel. And all you could hear and see is the traffic, the car park and whatnot. And I'm thinking, when I stand in a castle where I can see the road and whatnot, I'm ringing up down to reception. I said, we've traveled from the north and the east of Ireland to come over here. I said, we want something that's more castle-y. Castle-y. I didn't say what we did, because she'd be like, oh no, not you. But so he said, I want something that's in the center of the castle. So I got above the castle door. So we checked each other's rooms out, and he let me check them out to see not what I could feel, but will I be comfortable enough to sleep in the room? So the first room I checked, you had to walk through obviously the hotel corridor, walk into this area that looks big enough that you could have 2 beds in it. The bathroom's there, walk through another door, and there's your room. So it was like a huge room. It was like a family room, like huge.
Yeah.
A door next door to us, which was locked because the kids would have slept in there. And then I went and checked, and I said, I don't know. Went and checked his room out. His room was just like, you can just about get past his bed at the bottom of the bed. And you have this archway when you walk through, and then you have a table with the coffee and tea and whatnot. And he goes, he's from the north of Ireland. He goes, oh, Jenny, this looks like a doctor's office, Jenny. It looks like a doctor's office where people come in now and say, no.
It probably was.
Right? You're going back up there now. You're not fit to be leaving this hospital now. You go back into your room now. And I'm like, oh, dokey, I'm going to take the other room, because I don't want to be sitting there lying in my bed and seeing a doctor with his notebook saying, get it.
Well, they'd never release you, Jenny. I can just tell you that. No psychiatrist was releasing you.
Be done for.
I was going to stay there. So I went to my other room, right, which was huge. Like, there was a chandelier in the hallway, before the hallway, and I'm like, oh my God. And I had put my chair up against the door that wouldn't close it, because my bathroom was outside of my room. And I'm like, this is how big the room was. And I'm like, oh my God, did I sleep for 2 nights? I went walking around to my friend in New Orleans to show him the grounds of the castle. Excuse me. And I made Aidan sit on the chair so I could sleep before he left my room. And then we had this we did a live where we had bought these, and this is kind of a fun thing that we did. Even no matter what age we were, it's probably about 2 years ago. And it was 2 years ago, maybe. And we had these sugar donuts, and we had a competition on a live on the Emerald Isle page that we had to eat these donuts on live, without licking our lips. And he picks up my glass, my glass, and he goes, see this now, guys, you see this? Water doesn't stick to the glass. That's gin and tonic she's drinking. It's gin and tonic she's drinking. Because water will not stick to the glass. Gin does. And I'm like, yeah, and what? And what? So I could see him behind me on the camera licking his lips. And I'm like, oh my God, you licked your lips. I saw you on the camera. You licked your lips. He goes, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. It was nothing paranormal at all. And nothing paranormal at all. But my room, I could not sleep for 2 or 3 days. And then when we had our friend Adrian, who came and met us on the second day and gave us the tour of the hotel hospital where he used to work, and brought us into areas where no one else could go. And he said, we were standing outside, and he goes, on this side of the castle, is the most active area.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what do you think? What did you say? He goes, yeah, because he's very historian. He's great. This side is the most active area. This side is sometimes, but not always, but this side is most active. He's pointing over to my area.
Oh, your room, I'd say, Jenny.
Yeah, my room, because the light was still on, because I always leave the light on. And Aidan, being Aidan, you'd think he smoked about 50 cigarettes a day. The way he was laughing, he was just like gagging so much. Say you there, wee mucker. He calls me mucker, not the F word, the M word. He said, you mucker now. I told you, mucker. Greedy, you took the big room.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong, Jenny. He's not wrong.
You see, you mucker, you wee mucker, you. You took the big room, you took the big room. And that's why he sat at the end of my bed until I think he moved a little toe. I'm like, where you going? He goes, no, I'm mucker. I just moved my foot. I'm like, okay. And I folded back asleep again. I was like, Jenny, you know, I did not sleep well that weekend at all because I had to leave my huge room to get into a huge hall, to go into a bathroom. And I didn't know whether I was going to sleep in the bath. I didn't know. But it was kind of like, yeah. And that's the fun you'll have if you book in with Isle Paranormal Researchers. That's the fun you'll have investigating with us and me and
no,
George.
that's just with Jenny. Yeah, you may have a line on an asylum
in the north of Ireland. Yeah, my friend. Actually, the last time we were in, Alicia, the one with the cats, her sister works in a building called St. Luke's in Armagh in Northern Ireland. And it is an asylum, but it's turned into administrative buildings now. But her sister told me that she and the caretaker that works there said I can go, like, they'll take me around. So
we'll go in. We might have a little noodle up there in the north.
And they have a morgue and everything. You can't get into it, it's sealed up now. But they, when St. Luke's closed, before they refurbished it into administration buildings, they had loads of problems. They found sacrificed animals and skinned cats and things like that from things that got on. Because my friend Alicia lives in the estate that adjoins to the grounds of the asylum. So as kids, they used to, you know, like break in there and run around,
scare each other,
just kid stuff. But yeah, they actually had to report things like that to the police when they were kids. But yeah, it's a cool building.
Oh my god! Okay,
so we can go there.
So the north is going to, so maybe we might do that on the Cuneen Ghost House. The Cuneen Ghost House is really interesting, the history on it. And we had, there is no power up there. And there is a woods directly across from it when you get out. This is a tiny little cottage. It's a two-room cottage, three-room cottage. And, but there is quite a big history on it. And we got out. There's nothing up there. There's no Wi-Fi signal, nothing up there when you get up there. And there's this big forest beside it. And the first day we went up there, now it's desolate. It's up on the top of a mountain. It's desolate. And myself and Bethany got out of the car and there was this scream that came from the woods.
Wow.
It literally, we said to each other, should we try and call the police? There's somebody, some girl after being attacked and murdered here.
We genuinely thought something real.
We had no signal. We had no signal. No phone signal. No internet signal up there. There's nothing. It's a black spot. And so we couldn't call anyone, but we genuinely did think that it was a girl. Now, there was just one scream. We never heard it before. We never heard it since.
Around. There was no people. There was
no people, nothing. And we went up to the Cuneen Ghost House, did a little bit of an investigation around, and we did get some kind of responses, but it felt like nobody had been there in a long time to ask it anything. And well, when I was looking, so we came back, then I did a bit of history on it because we just by chance went there because we were going to the big Asda. Yeah. That's the reason we were going.
A supermarket in Northern Ireland that we don't have.
Get the cheap noodles then. Right, over the border in Northern Ireland. And when I went noodling around looking for the history of it, there actually were reported screams coming from that forest. There had been lots of reported screams coming from that particular forest, but it would be up in the hinterlands, and it would have been like during the days of the Troubles. There would have been a lot of, I don't mean paranormal activity, I mean there would have been a lot of paramilitary activity up around there.
Yeah, it would be.
It's a very cool place.
Yeah.
I've lived there personally. Ideal.
There's another place that I can't remember, but I know, and we can go to it any time, but I have to mail my friend and find out the name of it. It could be the same name that you said. I don't know. I'll mail him later.
Yeah, so there are a few things that we will definitely do, but we'll definitely go to Woodlawn and we'll definitely go to Moore Hall, because they're two places you haven't been, Jenny. Myself and Bethany have been, and I would be interested to see what you pick up there. I'm not going to tell you anything that we picked up there.
I prefer if you didn't,
because we don't play that way. So yeah,
Moore Hall is home to, is it the lesser known
horseshoe bat?
Yeah, it's
okay.
hundreds, thousands of bats there. It's unreal.
Oh, I definitely.
And they're the fluffy ones.
I love bats.
Wow.
Yeah, me too.
I do too.
They're called little bumblebee bats.
But I think the comfiest place we've ever gone was Ballyseedy Castle, because we got to do ghost hunting in our pajamas.
Yes, and when we booked the room,
go to bed.
When we booked the room, Bethany emailed them and said, "Can we please have a haunted room?"
Okay, and they ask you why. Do you want a haunted room?
No, they didn't ask us anything. They just gave us the haunted room.
Okay.
They're very open about their history.
Oh, I keep everything quiet. If I'm fucking in Cabra Castle or anything like that, I would not say why I wanted the haunted room. And the room.
No, I wouldn't say why. I just say, "Can I please have the haunted room?"
Smiley face.
So
no,
if it's available,
we booked it for Halloween night. It was for Halloween night, so I'm sure they thought we were taking the piss. But we got to stay in the main castle in the basement. So
right, I don't. I just
nice.
The room that I went to, the TV wasn't working. I kind of wanted the TV to work. The guy came up and said, okay, the TV's not working. I'm like, oh, that's okay. He goes, we can't move you into the penthouse or the suite, whatever. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do that. He goes,
you love a big room.
But he did say, he goes, you're lucky to get out of this room. And I'm like, why? He goes, because it's the haunted room.
Oh yeah, great.
Like, no, I'm grand. I'll do it at the TV.
What did you say? It's the haunted room. It was a haunted room. But either way, I took the freestanding bath and the glass of wine in my bath.
Still out.
I took it over the haunted room. I did. I took it over the haunted room.
Oh no, I'd have taken the haunted room hands down every single time.
No, I took my glass of wine, a movie, and my freestanding bath. Lovely on my own, and it was lovely. That's what I took.
That's no fun. All the time. No, I'd take the haunted room all day long.
I would also.
I did my Lucifer, and I did my glass of wine, and I did my bubble bath. Yeah, I did that.
Nice.
So, the rest could stay there.
If I pay to stay in a castle, you best believe I am getting my money's worth in ghosts.
Yeah, I want the haunted room.
But I did it, but I'm used to it. But I was in Cabra Castle, which I know Cabra Castle. My brother got married in it, and I stayed in it, and I took pictures of it. And, oh my God, what a trip on the dance floor. Everything is less than lore. Everything here is freaking castle.
Everything's castle. Everything's old. Everything's haunted.
Nice.
Someone said one day, she goes, Jenny, I'm going to like a Redwood Castle this weekend, or I'm going to Left Castle. And goes, oh my God, you're so lucky going to castles. And I'm like, I want to stay home in my pajamas, eat shit food in my bed, and watch shit TV.
Castles are cold.
They are bloody cold.
They are cold.
We live in castles.
Imagine.
We live in castles. We don't live in castles. There's many other locations apart from castles. But I'm going to be honest with you. I love them, but I hate the stairs. The stairs are spiraling.
The stairs are color.
Oh,
you fell down
the
stairs, Mum.
I may have fallen down the stairs, or I may have been pushed.
Lucky you were holding a sleeping bag, so you had a soft landing.
It's good. It's nice, and I wish, the people could come over and castles are everywhere. They're everywhere. They're fabulous. They're beautiful. They're old. I love and I appreciate them every time I go to them. But when someone said to me, Jen, you're so lucky going to castles like every weekend or every 2 weekends, and I'm like, no, I want to stay in my bed. I want to be with my dogs. And
I personally believe you shouldn't have to sacrifice central heating for paranormal research.
Girl, when you're doing it 18 years, if you want to stay home in your bed in the weekend,
right.
Castle where you have to luggage everything up,
freeze to death generally.
yeah, and even though there's always a fire lit in some of the castles, and then
Some of the buildings.
It's a lot, I have to say, and having to organize the whole thing. It's by the time it comes, I'm just like, enjoy yourselves. Let me know how you get on, because I'm staying home now.
There you go. Yep.
Jenny, we're excited for next week.
I'm excited, but at this point, I need a week's sleep before I go to the castle.
Well, look, you'll have a week's sleep before you go to the castle.
I will this week, please God. I will this week. Toby Mama's coming, lovey. I will this week, I hope. And I have my week free. I have no appointments. No, I actually have an appointment on Tuesday morning that I have to go to. But it's an appointment that I want to go to. Yeah, sometimes I'm just, Toby.
He's had enough.
Yeah, he's like, come on now, Mama.
Toby's kind of like, he's half like, we don't know what he is. Like, half a Maine Coon, half a something, half a that.
Yeah, that's it.
An elemental.
When I do the sound, right? When I do the sound,
crazy.
I'm gonna do a sound he might respond to. No, he doesn't do it. Toto? He's scratching at the moment, and he just made me an out of me.
So what's going to be in the future for all of you, as far as investigations or events, castles?
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, at the end of May, at the beginning of June, I'm doing a 4-day tour for May Hernan for Secret Ireland Tours. She has a great tour company that she takes. She's from Sligo, but she lives in Toby. Mama loves you, but you gotta be quiet for a second. And she brings them over to Ireland, and we do like a 9-day tour. So this time, the group is coming over to Ireland for 4 days up the north of Ireland, and then go to Scotland, and then back to Ireland where I see them off. And then on the September, for 9 days, we have Michelle Ruth and Brittany, her daughter, to join to do the ambassadors for Secret Ireland Tour for May Hernan. We are doing a 9-day tour for Secret Ireland Tours with the ambassador Michelle and Brittany. And we are traveling fabulous locations here in Ireland. I am just the investigator tour guide that I get them on the bus, get them off the bus, doing some investigations, not all of the investigations, but to meet two of my very favorite people, and to work with them and to investigate with them, and just to do locations with them in Ireland in September for 9 days around Ireland is. And some of the locations I have not been to. Most of the locations I've been to. So it's kind of like loving to show people who's never been to these locations before that I can show them this is my home. This is where I go to. And I want to show them that. And the guests that has paid to come over and do the tour in Ireland with the ambassadors as well. So that's my job for June and September. That's me. And then between that, with the team to do investigations and so on and so on. And then I'm doing a filming in April as well for TV. Which we're not talking about that.
That's awesome.
Top secret.
Jacqueline and Beth, do you have anything?
No, well, I'm going on my summer holidays, but I'm going to bloody hell, I don't know how I got myself into this Las Vegas and San Francisco. So I'd certainly be going to Alcatraz in May. But no, we have quite a few trips planned and that for investigation, but it's going to be our silly season. So I have holidays in May, Jenny has all her filming stuff, and then Bethany has holidays in June. So she's off to Cornwall and Dorset and Wales. So I don't know, between the holidays and between everything else, it'll probably be the autumn before we kind of regroup again. I know we're doing Redwood in July, and we're doing with something for April, and you're busy in May. I'm busy in May, and you're busy in June. So it'll probably be the autumn, probably August again by the time we regroup. And then we'll nearly be planning for Halloween.
Nice.
For Samhain.
What do I have in June? What do I have in June?
Well, Bethany, you don't have in June. You have something in June, I think.
Do I? Oh, maybe I don't know. I won't know yet at the end of the month.
Mm.
It's all a bit of it.
Wow. So
know-
where can everybody
Yeah.
find you guys?
On the
You
team
can
page.
find. Sorry, go ahead, Jacqueline.
No, I just said on the team page.
On the team
On the
page?
team page, Emerald Isle Paranormal Researchers on Facebook. It is a private group. If you request it, I will see it and I will let you in. We are on YouTube. We had a YouTube before and we kind of got rid of that and now we're
Yeah.
starting off again. So we're
Okay.
starting off. We have low numbers. We're going up with it again. Emerald Isle Paranormal Researchers. Then you have TikTok, Jen Paranormal. You'll find us on TikTok. I put all my videos and investigations onto that as well. And we have Instagram, which I don't really use much, so you can go onto it, but I'll throw some things onto it now and again. But you will find us mostly on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok.
And
Right.
you do an Instagram account as well, Bethany, but not, it's horror related, but not paranormal related.
No, it's just horror books.
Yeah. So
We like
Bethany,
horror.
yeah. So do you want to give the name of the Instagram page or?
Oh, it's called the Phantom Pages.
Yeah.
I review
Okay.
horror books. It's a new venture because
Nice.
I read so much. I at work go hunt and read, and that's it.
That's fantastic.
I want to go to the
Fantastic.
gym.
That's,
That's
that's
awesome.
the
Well,
life. Apart from the that's the life.
Yeah.
Apart from the
I
gym.
know it is. Well, thank
I
you
love
very much, everyone, for being on. Thank you, Jenny,
Absolutely.
Oh,
Jacqueline, and
yes,
Yes,
Bethany.
thank
Thank
you.
you
It was
Thank
so
you so
much.
wonderful.
Yes, and
Thank you so
everybody,
much.
please follow them on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I have at least Jenny's links on my description, so
Yeah.
please feel free.
Cool.
If you haven't already, please like, share, and follow their stuff. And then, guys, if you don't mind, I'm going to put you backstage, and we'll see you shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us on. Thank you everyone for asking questions and saying hello and following the pages on YouTube and our team page as well. So thank you so much for having us on, Laura and Lady Victoria Darkwood.
Thank
Thank
you
you so
so
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you shortly. Well, that was great. I
It
loved
was
it.
wonderful.
My
Learned a
goodness.
lot. Very exciting.
Ah.
I'm looking forward to following up with them to see how the rest of
Yes.
the adventure goes. And
Yes,
everybody did great, great questions, guys. And
Yes.
just remember,
Um,
just to like and share, get their page up and running and,
Yeah,
share the love.
especially when they go live. I'm definitely going to tune into that as well.
Oh, me too.
But yeah, definitely. They're amazing. I definitely want to take a trip over there. That's on my
Great
bucket
opportunities.
list.
Well, because it makes me laugh, they laugh, oh, castles. I mean, of course, yeah, because it's the funny thing about the human species is that, where you're used to something because you get to go to it all the time, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And if we went over there, we'd, tourists. They know,
Exactly.
those are tourists.
I know. And of course, it would be phenomenal if they came over here as well.
Yeah. Great.
But yeah, so everyone, thank you for joining. The next one that we have is April 5th, and we have the lovely Carla from Horror of Horror on.
Ooh, Miss Carla.
Yes. So please stay in tune, stay safe, and be spooky. And we'll talk to you later.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.